Good Friday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness. We are live in Charlottesville, across Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world, on the I Love CVille Network. We're presented by Yes Realty Partners. We're powered by Yes Team Realtors. Guys, sit back, grab a cup of coffee, maybe a breakfast sandwich from Angelique's, maybe some leftover pizza from Dino's. Heck, if you want to start early, grab the growler from Star Hill and pour yourself a little beer, because this is going to be a fantastic morning for you. Judah Wickhauer, my friend, if we can go to the studio camera and we can welcome a round table of talented proportions. Keith Smith.
Epic proportions.
I like talented this morning. I like talented this morning. My friend, introduce everybody.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you do the formal introductions to everybody. See, he's swinging the mic around already. But we got Jodi Mills sitting directly across from me, and everybody knows Jodi's a rock star. We got Paul Cooper, who we found out in our pre-production meeting. We're kind of from the same place on Long Island, so
Awesome.
That New York and Long Island, that was cool. And the gentleman sitting to my left is Eugene, who is a rock star over there. And so we're going to let you do the formal introductions, and then we'll just have a lot of fun.
Okay, so we start with beautiful lady first.
Of course.
Jodi
thank
Mills,
you.
the show is yours.
Handsome,
Introduce yourself to everyone.
Handsome Jerry.
Thank you.
So glad to be on the show
Great
again.
to have
And
you.
Pete, thank you for always bringing us on. And we've got a lot of good things to share. So I'm Jodi Mills, for those of you who haven't heard my name. And I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for Stony Point Development Group. And so we were responsible for the development of the dairy market. And so I do the marketing and PR for the company. And so we're really excited to talk about where we are with the dairy market. It's been a great week.
Paul Cooper.
Yeah,
Face to face, doesn't it feel nice?
feels great. Last time we chatted was, I guess, April of last year in the early stages of COVID, so good to be with you all. So we've been partnering with Stony Point Development, Jodi and the team. We're a hospitality firm based out of Richmond, Virginia. And so we oversee the operations, the marketing, everything, and partner with some really talented folks like Eugene at the market. And we're excited to be here and chat a little bit more about what we have in store.
It's great to have you. I'm going to be at one of your properties on Monday, the Quirk Rooftop.
Perfect.
Very excited about that.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
And then walking to Dairy Market.
Dairy Market,
After
within
that.
walking distance.
It is within walking distance. Eugene.
How's it going? I'm Eugene. Some of the operations manager at the dairy market. The day-to-day operations, I have a staff that cleans, greets, the hospitality team. I assist in our sales and events space downstairs, the brick cellar. Making sure that the mission and the core values of the market daily are lived out through community engagement, programming, and all that fun stuff.
That was well said. Very well said. The man knows how to play the game right there.
That's right. Thank you.
Distinguished gentlemen.
Just a rock star panel. We talk about this all the time, and this is really true. But yesterday, you guys had a really big thing happen, and you had a pretty important individual show up. So talk about what happened yesterday in your grand opening, please.
Well,
Jodi.
actually, Wednesday we had a
Wednesday.
visit from
I'm on my
the
wrong day.
governor.
Sorry.
And then yesterday we had Rita, who is the Virginia Tourism Corporation. She is the president of the corporation. She was there yesterday. So we had the governor on Wednesday. We had the Secretary of Agriculture, who is a local resident, Bettina Ring, who we were talking about a little bit earlier, who absolutely loves the dairy market and had visited. We were lucky enough to have Ken Smith of Muthru, who has a dairy farm over in Remington. He brought milk. We did a milk toast. We ate chocolate chip cookies, and they toured the dairy. And all of this for Virginia Agriculture Week and in recognition of National Dairy Month. So it was a great week.
And we named the mascot, did we
We
not?
named our cow. Her name is Rosie. And
Rosie.
and that was kind of generated from the Rose Hill neighborhood being really close. I mean, the 10th
cool.
and Page neighborhood is close, but Rose Hill is not too far away from the dairy market. So that's where one of the names came from that we presented to the public, and the public actually named her. And so we're excited.
So I've often said on the show, and I think the world of Jodi and Chris Henry and your team over there, but they really engage the local folks and the neighbors and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
And this is a prime example of that. Hey, help us name our little mascot, a little cow. So Rosie, it is. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I figured you guys did it, and let's throw that out there.
That's probably one of the
Absolutely.
most photographed cows in the Commonwealth. Every time I'm in the dairy market, which is quite often, I see someone taking a selfie next to the cow. The cow is absolutely beautiful. And to echo what he said, you guys went above and beyond with engaging the community and getting community input. And I'm going to throw this to you guys. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the brick seller is offering an opportunity to the folks in the 10th and Page neighborhood to utilize the space?
Yeah, once a month,
Yeah.
when they have their HOA meetings,
Right.
they used to have them in the small living room of the old City of Promise house. And so it was tight, it was cramped, there couldn't get enough people in there. And so Chris, when we originally started talking with the community, said, come on over, use the space, you can have have your meetings here. So that's the engagement. And then we're very lucky, we own the Trinity, the old Trinity Church that's right next to the dairy market. And so I think what you're going to find is there's going to be a lot of opportunity to connect with the community through the church too. So yeah, best of both worlds.
So I'm going to throw this out to anybody to take it, but those who are listening or watching, because we have a lot of folks listening instead of watching, tell us what dairy market is. Tell us about it. Tell us about, maybe Paul, looks like you're getting the eyeball on us. So tell us what it is for those who are not familiar with it.
So a dairy market is, as we've envisioned it, and it's coming to fruition, is a vibrant destination for the community. And it's a market hall that celebrates a variety of different merchants, everywhere from food, beverage, through retail. We have open now just about all but, I think, 6 of the merchants. So we've been ramping up since December 15th. Dairy Market sits in a historic building. It was the old Monticello Dairy Company. So it was a community gathering place when it had first started. So it's really interesting to hear a lot of, actually yesterday I was on the patio before our ribbon cutting, and to hear some of the stories of folks who had experienced that their parents, their grandparents had come to Monticello Dairy, and now it's been reimagined. So a beautiful, beautiful historic renovation with a great community. We call it an ecosystem of merchants, extremely supportive, all small business owners who really have beautiful brands. They're very, very passionate about the brands, and our job is to tell their story, to open the place up to community and welcome everyone to eat, drink, and have some fun.
So the central location is really key. So my wife and I's office is at the X building, and yesterday we wanted to go see the grand opening, or the opening at South and Central, and they had a little pop-up, and my dear friend Vincent Zorn was playing on the patio, and we walked. It was a beautiful day. Walked from our office over to the patio, had 1 glass of wine, maybe 2. A little bit of, okay, Cheers. It was 2. Nice rosé, it was gorgeous. And a sausage, listened to some music, and walked back to the office. Did not do more work. We went home. We waited for a few minutes, and then we went home. So Eugene, you're the operations guy, right? So give us a rundown. Who's there? Who's in the facility?
Who's not? Who's not? Facility? Who's not? This is the toughest question you're going to get right here.
There you go. Yeah, so a bit, just to understand the question a little bit, do you want to know like the merchants or all the fun stuff? Yeah, I mean, well, we have an amazing group of people. At first I like to highlight my staff just because I think they're the best in the building. I think there's some other good people, but I have the best people. So I have a staff of people that are kind of my hospitality team. They're amazing. They kind of keep the market going. Without them, the merchants do a great job. They're ambassadors. They're ambassadors to the market. They're face of the market.
Choice of words, by the way.
And so, well, their actual job title is ambassadors. So the hospitality team. So they're amazing. They keep the market going. They keep people happy. Make sure everything is going well. They're definitely the frontline support for the merchants if they need anything. Of course, have myself leading that, and then the merchants themselves. So we couldn't do what we do without them. So everything from Angelique Soul Food Kitchen to Little Manila food truck coming into Manila Street, Chim, Take It Away, Move Through, Eleva Coffee, Be Conscious Baking, South and Central, Milkman's Bar, all these fun, really cool individuals. And so, going back, a large part of my beginnings of the job was the market mission and its core values. And so our values are entrepreneurship, diversity, inclusion, and engagement. And so, each of these merchants, they have a story. Diverse stories. and we want to be able to engage with everyone who comes in the market. We want to be inclusive of everyone who comes in the market, and we want to make sure everything's tied up. So yes, I mean, there's a lot of great people in the building, a lot of great merchants, a lot of great stories, and a lot of great people tied behind those stories.
And more to come. And more to come.
You want to give us a hint?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll give you a hint
Who do we
because
got?
it's all public, right? It's all public facing. So the folks that you see coming, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed it's in the next couple of days or even week, is is bringing the Citizen Burger stand to the dairy market, and so a little bit different. He's going to have tacos, which I know is near and dear to some of your hearts,
Yes.
right? And then there's Green Burger coming, which is a vegetarian concept, and then you have Mishu Festival that's coming, and that's TK. I'm not sure if you know TK,
Yes.
but fantastic entrepreneur, great stories. And then down the road, we have Maisal coming. So one little thing that's kind of fun about our market, we call it a market hall. Most of people call them food halls, right? We call ours a market hall because you have retail. So Quattro Tizzi
That's what I
will
was just
open
gonna
in the
ask
next
you.
couple of days, probably within the next week, in their retail space. And then we just signed an LOI for the other, a contract for the other space, and that's going to be home goods and accents and things like that. So it's going to be a complete package. You can come into the dairy and do anything you really want to do. And Springhouse Sundries is already in existence there, and they sell wines and things for picnics, cheeses, good quality stuff from Virginia.
And I think one of the things that we're really, really excited about in addition as we open the dairy market is now that we're getting through COVID and folks are being vaccinated and out, and this is great to be able to be with you guys here today in person, is that, we're really looking forward to a lot of different activations, a lot of programming. Star Hill does a fantastic job with music, and Thursday nights they're featuring a live act there. There's going to be a lot of great activations, outdoor kids activities. On Tuesday we did Tots Tuesday, which we had a petting zoo. We had a demonstration for kids to learn how to milk a cow. Actually, Ken from Muthu brought a couple of baby calves out. We had goats, we had bunnies, we had all sorts of
You've done yoga?
fun things.
Yoga on the patio.
Wednesdays, and Spenga has been there. So, yeah, we're really looking forward to activating the whole space. So, again, keep an eye out for all the cool stuff that we're going to be doing. And then, the other addition that we recently launched was the Brick Cellar, and that's a premier event space that we have right there below the market hall.
It's big time.
It is.
It opens tonight, the grand
Really?
opening tonight with
That's
an art
amazing.
walk. So
Ooh, what time?
6 to 8. And
I'll
so
be
we
there.
have we have two local artists, Frank Phillips and Christy Yates, who display their artwork right now. So what our goal is we're going to, filter out different artists, local artists, and have them hang their work and sell their work on. I know Frank's already sold a couple, and it's stunning. So
How many people can this space hold?
So we're about 150 in the Brick Cellar. So
Really?
we have two rooms,
6,000
one for 6,000 square feet.
Yep.
Wow.
So we have two spaces that can be split. We have a small boardroom that we think will have a lot of conferences and board meetings and that type of stuff, obviously. And then that opens up into a larger space, which we see really drawing a lot of rehearsal dinners and social functions, small meetings, so we can set up a variety of different ways. We have a fixed bar, a beautiful bar right there in the lobby. And so we can host a variety of different events. Take a look at dairymarketcville.com. Emily Jackson just joined us. She's heading up sales and marketing with Eugene at the dairy market, and can give you all the information you need about hosting some fantastic events. So.
Not to mention that she comes from the Paramount, so she is local, and she is really good at what she does. So she's got a great personality, and we have that Trinity Church that I mentioned, the old Trinity Church. So you could actually have your ceremony in the church and walk right on over and have your rehearsal or your reception in the brick seller. So.
You guys renovated that church, if I'm not mistaken, right?
We did.
Talk a little bit about that.
So we put I think it was about 600 and almost 700,000 into the church. Wow. It needed some foundation work.
Yeah.
It needed the parsonage and the church itself. Both were renovated. So Farmhouse, which is a local artist group, they actually are based out of the parsonage. And then the renovation of the church, we did hardwoods. We fixed foundation. We there was mold and mildew. So we did the whole
But
gamut.
you brought it back to life, right?
We brought it back to life.
And,
It's
and
beautiful.
that's an important thing to get out about how you guys are community-centric, right?
Mm-hmm.
You brought a church back to life, and to go back to one who just did a wedding this weekend, which I would have loved to have this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Would have loved to have this opportunity in front of us, so we could have done the ceremony there.
Absolutely.
Walked past maybe the milkman and had a couple of
The after party in the brick cellar.
No, I'm just talking about the
Progressive.
father of the bride just having a couple of drinks
You
to
need it.
stiffen himself
Yeah.
up a little bit, and then go down and have the reception downstairs. That is just an outstanding flow of involvement, and timing is everything, and what a perfect timing for you
Well,
guys.
you'll get to enjoy that too. Eugene can talk a little bit more about the activities for tomorrow, but we're going to celebrate the church and Juneteenth tomorrow.
Questions coming in already here, so let's acknowledge some of the folks that are watching. Cara at Ting, the market manager, we love you. Cara at this network.
I love
Ting
Cara.
powers the network. Jamie Turner has a question for you guys, which we will get to. He asks if the church is open for weddings currently. You have a state delegate, 2 board of supervisors, and a city councilor watching the program literally as we speak. Amanda Burns says Charlottesville loves Eugene Fitzgerald. So she's got that right there. Nicholas Urpy, C-Suite of Emergent Financial Services, watching the program. Duncan Finley, Kathy Stittick, Virginia Level. I apologize if I'm messing up your name there, Virginia. Jodi is getting some love on her page. Jimmy Brown giving you some props here.
Thanks, Jimmy.
On the show. So how about that question about the church? Is it open for weddings? Because you may get a booking right now.
Absolutely.
It absolutely.
So if you go to dairymarketcville.com, there's an inquiry tab for our brick cellar space, but that can also fill the inquiries for the Old Trinity Church as well. Kind of going back to Jodi's point of some of the community, our last day of Dairy Day. So we have had a whole week of activations called Dairy Day, celebrating the grand opening of the dairy market, also celebrating National Dairy Month. So of course, Monday we had our City of Promise. We partner with them for our Market Mondays. So we're super excited that they were our first Market Monday participant. So we're excited for the rest of June. Come in, donate $1 extra on your meal to go to City of Promise, and then the ongoing months, other nonprofits. Tuesday, like Paul highlighted, we had about 150 kids run around the 3-day-old calves, move through. We had a milking competition. I think there was some butter churning. So lots of other things. Up to Wednesday, the governor.
Doing a milking
Yeah, I didn't.
Have
do
you ever
too well.
milked a cow before? I have not milked a cow.
I want to
It's been
know
a
where
very
that's
long
going.
time.
That comes from a movie, right?
That's it.
It was way out of practice. And then, of course, Wednesday we had the governor visit, which was loads of fun. Thursday was our grand opening, one of the celebration at Virginia Tourism, all those fun people today. Of course, I think the main event today is being here, of course, right? So we can cancel tonight. No worries.
Hold on. Let's give a round of applause for Eugene here. Round of applause.
So that's right. So tonight we have our opening in a brick cellar, partnering with Springhouse Sunrise for some a few fun libations, and then tomorrow is kind of the heart of the week for me, and kind of the thing I've been working on for the past couple months. And it's going to be a community day. So it's important to celebrate on Juneteenth in particular, but it's also important that we celebrate 10th and Page, where the dairy market sits. And so it's a day of kind of giving back, a day of connecting, a day of engaging. And so from 12 to 4, we have WVIR, which is 101.3.
Yeah.
They're broadcasting live on the dairy market patio. We're going to have about 7 different community organizations, one of which is City of Promise. We're going to have the 10th and Page Neighborhood Association, Well Aware, UVA Humanities, as well as kind of a clothing pop-up by Black Women Built This, which is Ayanna Bryant. So we have a lot of cool things tomorrow. We're going to have tours open of the Old Trinity Church. And the culmination of that day, there's going to be some artwork out there led by Farmhouse, which are going to be some really cool community art pieces. But the culmination of that day is at 4 p.m., which is going to be a storytelling event. So that storytelling event's going to be in the Old Trinity Church, and it's going to be residents of 10th and Page, Venable, Rose Hill, Vinegar Hill, all coming orchestrated and curated to tell their story, tell their stories about the community, about where they've came from, where they're going. And we're really excited about that. Just, kind of highlighting what Paul was saying in some ways earlier is, kind of my personal staff, and as well as just interactions with guests at the market. There's so many people who said, we would come and grab ice cream. This is the place we got our butter, our milk, our eggs, and then we'd go to Washington Park. We'd eat our ice cream, or we'd do whatever. And so it is kind of the reimagination of that, and it's also the...
You guys are the water cooler of
Yeah,
Charlottesville.
that's the goal.
You get into the water cooler of CVille.
Seriously.
Absolutely. So it's cool to see
true.
those people come back after soccer games, after bad days, after good days, after anniversaries, after, whatever goes on to come back into every day. Every day. And so it's cool, and we're excited for that to happen, and we're excited Saturday to have the Community Day.
On Juneteenth.
On Juneteenth.
So you rattled this off. Excellent.
Yes.
Where can
That's
somebody
nice.
who's listening, well done, sir, where somebody who's listening, can you just give a shout out on the website address or someplace so they can grab all this information?
Absolutely. So we have a couple of different sources. So, the website source is dairymarketcville.com. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, and at any point if you message Facebook, Instagram, we have someone on my team usually answers pretty quickly. Tag us. We love that, Dairy Market CVille.
Hashtag Dairy Market.
Hashtag Dairy Market. Can't forget the hashtag.
And leave some great reviews if you've had a great experience.
Google, yeah, please.
Google.
Please, Google.
We
We love
look
Google.
at every one of them
We do. That's right.
every day, so it's really important to us. If you have a great experience, go to Google, go to Yelp, visit the individual pages for all the merchants, give some love there if you've had a great experience. If you have some comments that you'd like us to consider, also, let us know.
So I'm going to give a shout out to this man to my left. So my wife and I go to lunch all the time, regularly at Dairy Market, and it's just, for those who have not been there, it's just really cool thing. So you come in, I'm kind of a pizza guy, so I go see Dino because I just
I love Dino's pizza.
being in New
He's
York,
the
I
mayor.
gotta
He's
have
the-
He's
pizza.
like
Got a
the
good
mayor.
slice.
Yeah. Gotta have pizza. My wife, not so much. She's a salad person, so she'll come around actually on the other side of the counter
At
and
Dino's?
get
Yeah.
Dino's and
Yeah.
get the salad. I'll get the pizza, and we'll meet in the middle. I usually try to get Yona and I to sit as close to move through as possible, so I can get an ice cream from it. But I've walked at any time I've ever walked in, Eugene. You greet every guest that walks in.
Mm-hmm.
You always say hello. You always got a smile on your face. So well done, sir. You do an outstanding job.
To add to that, we have a 3-year-old. You have kids.
Mine are older.
You're older.
I'm
Yeah.
about to be
Yeah.
a grandmother, though, and I'm going to bring
Okay.
my little baby grandchild to the Dairy Market.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to say. So there are few places as young parents we feel like super comfortable with the 3-year-old where like you don't know what his mood is going to be like that day.
Yeah.
Now we're going through the potty training stuff. You guys
Oh,
remember
yes.
that?
Oh, yes.
But at Dairy Market, it's like it is so inviting and family friendly.
It is.
And because you guys have a little something of everything, like depending on our little guy's mood, you guys can accommodate that.
Yeah.
So I cannot think of a more accommodating or like better place for young parents and kids than Dairy Market. We can sit outside,
Yeah.
have the IPA I want. My wife can get a glass of wine if she wants. We go and get pizza from Dino's,
Yeah.
and then we finish with some move through. I mean, it is perfect for young families. I can attest to this. We go a few times a month. Please consider it as your next choice. It is perfect, Paul.
Yeah, I have an 8 and a 10-year-old, 2 daughters. Cameron's 10 and Cassidy's 8. So if you all listen to this at some point, love you.
Well done.
They
Give a shout out to the wife.
Courtney, yeah. So, but yeah, we'll go in there and enjoy a slice of pizza. They'll enjoy pizza, ice cream, mac and cheese, all the staples of young kids.
Good stuff.
And I'll grab a pint from Star Hill and a bite from wherever. And yeah, it's just a great feeling to give them the liberty to choose what they like. And and everyone's so friendly. I mean, you could walk up to Dino's there. I think 24 hours a day. I think we have to kick him out.
is.
Right.
Really?
Is.
Does he have a
Boy,
cot at Dairy Market?
He must.
He
must.
asked actually for a parking space so he could actually put his car downstairs and sleep.
That is amazing. He
I'm kidding,
is
he's not.
fantastic.
When you
But you
walk
should
in
have
the
seen how
door,
dapper.
there's 2 people that say hello to you first. There's Eugene, and then Dino tracks you down.
Dino
Right.
does.
And make sure
You
he
should
says,
have
knows
seen
everybody.
him yesterday. He looked so dapper. He was
Yeah.
all dressed
Really?
up for the day.
Look at
He
that.
had his straw hat on
Really?
and his suit coat. Oh, he looked so good.
You know,
It was
one of
fun.
the neat things about
Tag
this.
Dino right now. I'm going to
So-
say, Dino, we're giving you props, dude.
My wife and I like to play cards, and we'll just get a cup of coffee or a drink, right? And we'll just sit there and play cards for hours. And maybe
Canasta?
Canasta.
Yeah.
Canasta.
Who wins that?
Yona always wins. Don't even go there. We were on vacation. We were playing a running game, right? And I was literally up by thousands of points to the last effing hand on the last day, and she just sunk me. And I was like, oh man! So she was toying with me the whole time. But we'll play there for an hour or two or whatever. Nobody rushes you.
Nope.
Everybody just leave you alone. Hey, what can I do to help you? This guy hovers over you.
Johnny Ornalis says Eugene Fitzgerald is the man.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
You know what, though? You both hit right on the head exactly what our approach was when we started Dairy Market. When we were looking at how do we, from a marketing standpoint, and you can appreciate this, right? Who is our target market? Who are we going to go after? Who's going to come in? And we very quickly realized that our target market is everyone.
Is Charlottesville
Is
and beyond.
everyone,
Yeah.
right? Because it changes based upon the time of the day, the day of the week, and we have not been disappointed. And the key component is, you said young families. You're saying, Yona, and you love to come and play cards. Guess what? We have people who come after church. We have people who are there every morning getting an Aleva coffee. And I have heard, I can't live or start my day without my Aleva coffee.
We're drinking it right now, Jody.
We are. Cheers, bud.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Cheers.
It's delicious.
That is good.
Cheers.
But you've got the UVA students, you've got the alumni. You really can't go wrong at Dairy Market. And then the key component is each person gets to go get what they want.
That's it.
And they come back and they unite at the table and have great conversation.
Well, now that we've kind of moved past this epidemic or pandemic
Right.
that we're in, and one of the neat things about it, and it's very European, as you know, because you kind of modeled it after this, but you'll sit down, and Eugene's sitting next to me, Jerry and his family's across the table, and we love to communicate, but most people love to chat, and suddenly having a conversation, and the next thing you know, you're just talking to somebody for
You're making friends.
Mrs. Smith makes friends for a half an hour.
Mr. Smith is passing out business
Mrs.
cards.
And you know what? We haven't even talked about the fact that we're connected to an office building. So we
Yeah,
have some
great.
really key
Let's
tenants
talk about
that
that.
came into the offices. And you've got UVA, Virginia Humanities, which is funded and sponsored by UVA. You have Care Hospice that's in there. Allen, and Allen moved their long-time offices from over there, right by the mall, or not
Right.
too far down from
29.
the mall, 29.
Yeah.
They moved over into the building. You have Dexcom and Type Zero that are over there. You have CoStar.
That's a big get, CoStar.
You know what? They're all big gets if you think about it, because it takes a lot of concentrated effort to figure out where you want to be permanently for a long-term time. But what's great, though, is the Dairy Market is an amenity to these wonderful tenants. So now that COVID is passing and people coming back into the offices, they can come down, they can have coffee, they can have lunch, they can have a drink after work. And then we have the 180 apartments that are going to be completed in the next couple of months. And so that, again, the Dairy Market, it is an amenity to the 10th and Dairy apartments. And so what a great feature. You don't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. You can live, work, and play right there at 10th and Grady.
So in the Class A space,
Yes.
how many square feet is that again?
Oh gosh, there was 50,000 square feet total,
And you're fully
we only
rent-
have just a little teeny tiny space left. Yep.
I'm about to say, you're all leased up, aren't you?
We are.
Yeah,
We are.
Good for you.
Yep.
And talk a little bit about somebody who wants to jump in. Talk a little bit about the apartment complex, because I think you did some affordable housing in that. I think I
did.
get a shout out to you guys.
We did. And Keith, I think it's so important to go back and talk about that affordable housing, because we were only required to do, I forget what the number was, I think maybe 5 or 6 units. And Chris made I think a very smart decision. He put 15 in.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes, because again, you go back to the communication that we have with the community. We had focus groups. We wanted to know what are your concerns? What are you looking for? What can we do? How can we incorporate you into the decision making? And that really resonated with him, and he made that decision to put 15 affordable dwelling units in the building.
This town has a lot of good developers, but when you open up the dictionary for looking at the best to do it right, it's Chris Henry's picture and your guys' picture. You guys really engaged the community
Thank you.
well.
Thank you.
Listen to what they had to say. This is the world I come from, and that is usually when the projects are the most successful. When you sit down with the community members and say, okay, this is my vision, this is my goal. There has to be some realistic. I mean, there's money involved in there. We just and listen and produce. That was the result of to get off topic a little bit, but result of what was passed last week or earlier this week with the Planning Commission.
Congratulations on that, too.
Out and what I had nothing to do with it, but it's congratulations to us.
Great.
Because
Forest Lakes. Yeah, and that Forest Lakes Holly Beach
Forest
area.
Lake,
That's
thank you,
right.
thank you for
Yeah.
wrapping it back in.
75% of those units affordable.
Will be affordable between
Yeah.
30 to 60%.
Yeah.
So there are, everybody kind of points to the fingers, big bad developer, but not all of us are like that. Not everybody's like that.
So,
So hats off to you guys.
That's interesting you say that, because this is a legacy project for Stony Point Development
Yeah.
Group. And, when you say legacy, that goes back to the heart. This isn't a project that we're, building and flipping and plan to move on. We plan to,
It's a passion project.
It is a passion
Yeah.
project. And we've planted our seeds in Charlottesville, and we're staying. It's going to grow trees, And so I think that's some of the decisions that you make and how you approach the community, and you gather the collective resources to make smart decisions. It's because it's a legacy project.
So let's acknowledge, Paul, we'll get you in the mix,
Yeah.
anything that's on the mind here. But before we do, let's acknowledge NBC 29, CBS 19, and the CVille Weekly for watching the show. We love when the media turns into the network here. We try to put information out there that should be on your outlets and your publications as well. Paul, this brand, this property,
Yeah.
this team, we're talking the best of the best here.
Best of the best. And that's, we've been so blessed as a company. I started Retro Hospitality 10 years ago, and we've been super fortunate to work with really great developers, very passionate people, folks who are really, really engaged in the community. And I have a great team, a really, really passionate team. And we were at the ribbon cutting yesterday, and it was interesting. Chris was speaking. Matthew did a phenomenal job with humanities, and then Rita McClenny, who's just the best of the best when it comes to promoting tourism throughout Virginia. And then Chris speaking, and he rattled off all of the names and organizations that were a part of Dairy Market, Dairy Central. And you just sit back and go, it takes, this level
The
of
supply chain.
yeah, it's just so many people. And then, you think back and, with a lot of the boutique, independent properties that we've been affiliated with, a lot of historic renovation, and, all throughout the Commonwealth. And we typically will do a grand opening, and it's a one-day, great moment for everyone to sit back and say, wow, that was really, really special, like we did, with Quirk in Charlottesville, and unfortunately we had to shut down, 15 days later for COVID. But, these projects take many, many years. And I remember going back maybe 3-4 years ago, and I was introduced to Chris Henry in Stony Point, and I think it was Chris Henry, myself, Josh Batman, and maybe Kevin Miller, I believe Kevin was there, at Shenandoah Joe's, and we were sitting across the street, and we were looking back at Dairy and Chris saying, hey, I need a hospitality company to help us launch this really, really important project. And what I've learned throughout my travels has been, we need a hospitality company to direct this experience, because it's an experience. It's a very immersive experience, but it's a lot of work. It's really laborious. There's a lot of hours that are put in, a lot of coordination, a lot of folks. So, when you look back and see all these different organizations that are doing it, you see extremely passionate and sophisticated developers in Stony Point, and working with Jodi, Casey Steffen, Josh, Kevin, Chris Henry. Chris and I are talking probably at least once a day, texting back and forth and calling. They get it, and this is really important to all of us, because this is a really high profile project. We want to make it a destination, and frankly, I couldn't do it without my team. We've got a lot of folks back there, and sitting back this whole week and looking at grand opening Dairy Days week, and looking at the contributions of everyone, and my team, everyone from Bree Brosco Whitehouse, who heads up
team.
Corporate marketing, Katie Campbell, who just joined us as a regional sales director, Mary Autry, who's our corporate director of operations, who ties it all together. Sarah Campbell, who's doing just an incredible job with social media and digital marketing. And then working at the ground level, at the property level with folks like Eugene and his team. It's just, you sit back and you look at everyone who has a hand in it and making all these great decisions. And we're going to continue to do that. I mean, just because we're open now doesn't mean it stops. This is something that, we're in it for the long haul. As Jodi said, Stony Point's a long-term hold on this project. I think moving the needle with that market is really, really exciting. And, just so much more to come. It's really...
But good teams have good leaders, and you're the best.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So, Jodi, what's next?
What's next? Oh, my gosh.
Damn.
I wish I could talk a little bit about about what's next for Stony Point Development Group, because we have a lot of irons in the fire.
Sure.
But I have to kind of keep hush-hush because some of those things are not public yet, but... You won't be disappointed.
I'm sure we
what's
won't.
around the corner.
So we shouldn't go down the Gordonsville route?
We shouldn't go down the Gordonsville route,
Not
but
yet.
we can celebrate the fact that Stony Point Development just opened
The Ice House.
the Champion Ice House
Yep.
Brewery, which you talk about powerhouse hitters, Craig Hartman and Hunter Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for anything better. And if you've not gone,
I went last weekend.
gotta go, right?
Yeah.
It's fabulous,
It
right?
is fabulous.
That is some of the best fried chicken
Oh my gosh.
you've ever eaten in your
Right?
life. It is awesome.
So we will talk a little bit about Gordonsville. I'm going to take executive producer.
Okay.
Because
Here
I'm
we
going to
go.
get.
Jody's like, key.
It's okay.
We're like just like brother sister stuff here. So, but I'm doing it for a specific reason because
Okay.
I want the folks who are listening or watching to understand the commitment that your organization,
Yes.
from the top down, from Mr.
Absolutely.
Manning all the way down,
Absolutely.
have to a community once they start and once they're engaged in it.
So true.
So let's talk a little, I mean, not
Sure,
giving anything
sure.
away, but let's talk a little bit so we can paint a verbal picture about the organization because it's been involved in Gordonsville, not just for the last couple of months or couple of
No,
years. It's
for
been
years.
decades.
It's so true.
And I can testify to that because I've been here since '87. Your organization from the top down has took this from a little town that needed a lot of help to something super awesome. So let's talk about how your organization started and where you're at, and we won't give away anything, but
No, that's fine.
where you
No.
may be going in
No,
Gordonsville.
and a lot of that got talked about when we did our grand opening on the steps of the Champion Ice House Brewery a couple of weeks ago, because Paul was with us. Paul was on the front steps. He cut the ribbon. We celebrated really well together out on the front steps, and he told the story. And he is a loyalist to the town of Gordonsville, so lots of support over the years. But he started his baby food company years and years ago, and he not only, he kept growing the business, and as the business grew, he would acquire another building, and so
Renovate
there's
it.
a long stretch of, a city block that, Paul has those buildings.
Wasn't his office the Ice House?
It actually,
It was across
I
the
don't
street.
believe it ever was
Okay.
the Ice House, but I can't testify to that. But
Okay.
the Linney House was where he originally started, and the Linney House is the full brick building that's on. If you're coming from, say, Zion's Crossroads, it's on the right after you go under the railroad
Okay.
pass. It's the all brick building, and then he had his offices across from that as well. But he kept it expanding, and then once that sold, he really, has always talked about the fact that he wants to give back. He wants to keep growing. So he will give back. You will see other things coming from us out there.
So the point I'm trying to make is excellent team builders, which any success, you have to be an excellent team builder. But the organization has a history, excuse me, of what it's done at Dairy Market and other places. This isn't the first
right.
project. This isn't its first legacy, because the Gordonsville will be another legacy project for the organization. So it's just important for the folks to know that this isn't a one and done, right? This is going to be a long term in the market, making things better for everybody, in my opinion, across the board. So my hat's off to your organization.
Well, thank
I
you.
always think the world of you guys.
Well, and we work well with you too. I mean, think about what you did out in Zion's Crossroads and our Freedom Drive shops. As far as El Mariachi coming in there,
They're watching.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, Johnny and his brother.
What a home run, huh?
What a home run. And we're not done in Zion's
We'll talk
Crossroads.
after. We've got other opportunities. We'll talk offline.
But we're not done.
She already has it.
No, I got something she doesn't know about yet.
But we're not done there. And then, we actually have vacation rentals up in Harwich, Massachusetts, which,
Cool.
We have 6 properties. We have a really cute, it's called the Cape Roots Market, and 4 condos right in the town of Harwich. And so that's a personal, passion project for us up there too. And so that's a home run. So we dabble in a
Chris
little
Henry
bit of everything.
Yeah.
You know what? If he sleeps, it's probably very short. But he's a passionate father and husband too. I mean, his kids are around everywhere. Alice and Coles are just as cute can be. And so he's involved, and he actually is very involved of what's going on in the city as far as teaming up with cadre and kind of really moving the needle. So, he's engaged in a lot.
Yeah, Chris is on my team, my regional housing partnership team, and a super engagement. Actually, he and I kind of head up a couple of things, and I just say, "What should I do, Chris?" And he tells me, and I do it. I'm only kidding.
So he's engaged, and he wants to continue to stay engaged. I think that's really what's important to him.
He looked sharp at the photo shoot, that's for sure. When the governor was there, I really thought the suit looked good, Chris. Go ahead.
I just want to get kind of Eugene into the conversation.
Please.
He's sitting over there. So, Eugene, anything you want to add to this conversation?
Ooh, any questions you got for me?
Oh, good Lord.
Give me some prompts here.
How does it feel to be so awesome?
It's a heavy burden to carry, so I have slight back pain because of it. So I managed to do it well, though.
So tell us a little bit about your team.
Yeah, so the team of
And what their roles are.
Yeah, absolutely. So the team partnering with Retro, so we have the corporate support from Richmond, but the team that I lead is the ambassador team. So once again, like they are the hospitality face of the company. So I have a mix of older, younger, female, male, minority, really awesome team who are excited to be at the market every day. I've had a couple feedbacks. This week for them has been just as important to them as it's been to everyone else, and so they've been excited to see everyone in the space. It's been a long time coming. Starting in December, we maybe saw a few people trickle in. It was just it was the height of COVID, winter time. We only had about 4 merchants open, 4 or 5 merchants, and so it's been fun seeing the team grow. Some of the original members to what it is now, to seeing 150 people at 10 a.m. in the morning. Versus, at 10 a.m. in the morning on December 15th, it didn't look quite the same. So it's been fun to see that. It's been fun to see them grow. It's been fun to grow the team. It's been fun to kind of hone in on them and say, hey, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to learn? And the same with me, and so as much as I'm hopefully mentoring and teaching them, they've definitely mentored and taught me a few things as well. But really solid group of people that do an amazing job every day.
You know what? Go ahead.
No,
Sure.
I was going to say, how many of them come from the local neighborhood?
I probably have about
60%.
3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4. Well, I have a staff about 9 or 10. So yeah, so about 3 or 4 come from the 10th and Page neighborhood. Some, I know at least 3 walk, there. So it's super convenient for them. Some are a couple doors down, but all come from Charlottesville, are in Charlottesville residents.
I remember, Jerry, when we were building in Horrigan, was the construction, did the construction. And I remember hearing this wonderful story about a gentleman who was a day laborer, right? And, certainly, Keith, you can appreciate the day laborers in this town. There's a couple of spots that they sit, and, local groups, builders, they come by and they say, hey, do you want to work for me for the day? And this particular gentleman lived in the neighborhood, and he would come over and he started talking to Horrigan, and he would say, hey, do you need any extra hands, or do you need work? And eventually this happened on a regular basis, and Horrigan actually employed him as a full-time employee. It's the greatest story. And now Horrigan's building other sites, and the gentleman still works for the company. He didn't just stay with Dairy Market. And I thought, what a really wonderful thing, giving back. And you talk about, the support of the community, support of the city, and the tax revenue or the tax, the taxes that we pay as the dairy market, giving back to the community, and then in so many ways. So
I'm glad we went down this employment road, right? Because I was reading some of your notes, and thank you so much for sending them. Dairy market itself employs 13 full-time employees. 70% are minorities, 30% are women, and 60% of them live in the neighborhood. But I'm reading through the list of all the local vendors you have here. So I would want to take a stab at it. I don't know if we knew this, but just the dairy market alone employs a substantial amount of local folks. Maybe, Paul, you might be able to tackle that.
It does. I mean, you look across the board, and we have, minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and they do. I mean, they do employ quite a few people. I know South and Central just opening a few weeks ago with a major operation, restaurant, bar, outdoor patio seating, and they're employing a lot of folks.
They were fully staffed yesterday, which was neat to see.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great restaurant.
Wilson Ritchie and I were having a conversation not so long ago. They were struggling to find employees. I was glad to see that he found folks to work.
They are, but there's a lot of opportunity too. So talking to Andy with Citizen Burger, and
that was my second client ever. This business is 13 years old. He was our second client ever. We designed the Citizen Taco Bar logo and the Citizen Burger Bar logo.
Beautiful.
He is as A+ as A+ gets. And what you guys are doing is you guys are championing local businesses and giving them this foundation and this pedestal to blossom even more.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love everything that's happening because you're finding people within the market. Angelique goes from a food trailer to a restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, she still has the trailer, but that's amazing.
Yeah.
One better. She started in the incubator program within the city.
Right,
I mean,
CIC.
so did Fernando, who is Milanella Street. So you have these people who are learning how to be entrepreneurs right here in our city. I mean, what a testimony.
I had a chance this morning to chat with Angelique, she's a phenomenal, inspirational lady, really, smart entrepreneur. And yesterday she had her granddaughter, Natalie Rose, working.
Yeah.
But working because she started, I think she's
Nonprofit.
6 years old. Angelique has helped her start her own nonprofit.
Isn't that great?
She was selling lemonade and taking donations to buy flip-flops to hand out, and she's done that with, I think, shirts and some other apparel. And speaking with her this morning, she said that she's been solicited by a group out of Washington, D.C. to start an apparel line for her 6-year-old granddaughter. And so this 6-year-old, talk about, I'm an underachiever when you look at a 6-year-old starting a nonprofit and a potential apparel line.
I think we all are at this table.
But there was some postings yesterday with Coach Tony Bennett was in there with some recruits and some of the team, and supporting Angelique and making some donations to little Natalie Rose. But that's what there's so many great stories and so many great opportunities that there are. I mean, you look across the market, and I'd say it's probably, by the time we're fully open, they're probably close to 100 employees, and most of them, again, if we follow that path, will be local, because it's everyone's approach is a really hyper local approach. Hire from within, recruit and promote from within, and hire folks from the community, and have them enjoy the space as much as we all do with our families. So.
And I want to tell you, we left two key people out of this whole conversation already, and I feel terrible. And that's Johnny and Jenny from Thalheimer.
Oh, yeah.
I must tell you, and the Thalheimer team that does our property management, but Johnny and Jenny, we couldn't, really have put together such a great group of folks if it hadn't been for their efforts. And they work tirelessly to make sure.
Jenny Stoner.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? They, you don't necessarily go out and say, okay, here's who I want in these different places. It's relationship building.
Sure.
Johnny and Jenny have built relationships in this town, which actually we benefited by having those relationships and having this diversification of these merchants here. So kudos to Johnny and Jenny.
And I met Johnny. We were looking for a second location for Quark Hotel brand, and I met Johnny probably about 4 years ago, and we knew the go-to guy in the market. That was
Johnny's going to love hearing that.
Representing commercial developers, and we talked to Johnny and said, here are a couple, our idea about what we envision bringing Quark to Charlottesville. Hopefully we can find a location. And he knocked it out of the park. I mean, just building that relationship, and Johnny does know everyone. Jenny, I see them all the time in the dairy market. They're huge stewards for dairy market and the Charlottesville community. So
Hats off to Jenny. I just had on Friday before the wedding, we had a question for her. It was 7:00 at night. We were coming home from the rehearsal dinner. She called me back on a Friday night, took care of the question that I had, and hats off. Very few people will do that, particularly on a Friday evening. So.
They really are unmatched in this town. They really, truthfully are. Good people. Good people.
So Eugene, favorite aspect of your job?
Ooh,
getting to work with me, right?
absolutely. That's number two.
That's number two.
Number two.
Here was number one.
That's yeah.
You're on the clock right now.
That's right. Yeah. I'm always on the clock. But I don't know if that's the best part about it, though. But I'm open to a regular time slot on the show, so just keep that in mind.
Okay, there we go. Always be closing, Eugene.
That's right. Let's sign the deal before sign the deal before we leave. So small fee is fine. That's thank you. Best part about job, I think, is goes back to my own personal core values and who I am. I love people and I love service. So any day that I get to actually interact with people, whether it's community, whether it's my staff, whether it's the market and our patrons to the market, that's kind of a good day. It's when I get bogged down with the other stuff, the admin stuff, the stuff that still has to get done.
Sure.
But when I actually get to interact with people and get to see people experience and create experiences, and that's kind of the best part. That's the best part about the job.
Fair to say you love your job?
I do.
We know you do.
You love my job.
This man loves to talk. That's what it is. He loves to talk.
I love you.
That's fun.
Well, we talk about this on the show all the time. I mean, it's looking at Jerry and everybody in this room. We love what we do every day. You don't wake up to go to work every day, right? You wake up to do what you love, right? I've never worked a day in my life. I know Jody's never worked a day in her life.
Never.
I mean, you know what I mean by that. And Paul, I'm getting to know you. I'm pretty sure you love everything that you do every day. So I'm going to spin that question around and ask Paul, what do you like? What's your best part of your day, man?
Best part of my day. There's no day that's the same, right? So when I can get out of the office and I can come up here and just yesterday is a small example. Just we're out there on the patio and I'm helping put up some umbrellas and we're carrying tables out to set up for the grand opening. The team's working so hard and seeing them and interacting and just coming across a local resident who's been here since birth. And is sitting out there enjoying a cup of coffee and get a chance to just say hello and start talking and listen. And the gentleman came out with a bunch of great stories as a pastor here in Charlottesville. And we talked a little bit about what's important to him and to me and looking at Old Trinity Church and just telling the story. But, getting to work with just, super passionate people. Eugene and I did not know each other. Eugene was hired by, one of our folks on the team. And you get to meet Eugene and you learn about what's important to him. And then you start looking at his work ethic and you start looking at, how dedicated that Eugene is to this project. And that it means the world to us. It means the world to me. And then to have that communicated to Eugene does to his team and to walk in there and to see folks like Robert and Alexis who are our ambassadors. And they'll say, hey, Paul, good morning, great to see you. And we'll just chat about, Henry. Henry's there too. I wouldn't mess with Henry. He's like a linebacker.
Oh, yeah.
He bounces at
yes, sir.
Boylan.
No, sir. Yes, sir. No,
we don't mess with Henry. But to just really passionate people who really love hospitality and, just getting out and sitting down, sharing a drink with them, a tea, a coffee, whatever, and just learning what's important to them. It's special to me. It's really, it means the world to, it validates what we do on a day-to-day basis, right?
So to put that a little into perspective, Jodi, when did this project actually start?
Gosh, 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the date that I remember, since 17.
Absolutely, and it was created out of, if I remember the story exactly, Johnny and Chris were at a grocery retail convention up in New York City, and so they were sitting and having a conversation about the dairy building, and Johnny said to Chris, what about a food hall? So that thus was born this adaptive reuse of this beautiful old Monticello dairy building, and then the rest is history. And Chris has traveled all over the world, and certainly in all these different spots across the United States, the food hall revelation was taking place. And so it was a natural fit. There's so many layers to the stories, just like Paul was saying. So when we first started talking Monticello Dairy, that was the thing we heard, just like we said, birthday parties, what have you, all this. Then it goes even in layers, and as I've done my research, I went to the library here and looked at the history, and they have articles that date back to the 50s and stories about the horse deliveries. You used to get your milk here from Monticello Dairy by horse.
That's right.
And the delivery men would get in, they would deliver the milk. And so many people have told us that those people who delivered the milk actually became almost like family. Some of those delivery men would bring, different people presents. And this one gentleman who I met at the dairy, who really, when we were looking for people to start telling us stories, he called me and said, I have this stuff I want to bring you. He brought me a bib, a poster, this little container, and then he shared with me that the milk delivery guy became almost like a part of his family. He remembered getting a little race car from the delivery guy, and there's stories about the horses. The horses would go into Belmont, and people were telling me when they were kids, they would hear the
Click, click.
hoofs,
Yeah.
and they would do the deliveries from midnight till the morning and people would have little coolers on their porches, and you would actually get your milk. So you'd wake up in the morning and they would have fresh milk waiting for them. But it's called the Gray Ghost of Belmont is the story, and so people remember the names of their delivery people. I had somebody give me an original delivery driver's shirt that I wore at the opening, the soft opening in December, and it was yellow, and I cleaned it with OxyClean and wore it proudly. This is what resonates with our community and these stories.
So thank you. So we're talking about buildings and renovating and where we are today. But what you're really doing is continuing the story, keeping the legacy alive by actually having this conversation, right? This conversation, Jerry taught me this is evergreen. What we're talking about right now will live forever in some digital format somewhere around the world. But what I was trying to tie it together is this was like a 4 or 5 year project.
Yes.
And anybody who's been involved in long projects, and most of us at this table have, on that conversation you had is the perfect conversation to have.
Yeah.
You said, look, we did this right.
Yeah.
This and when you started it 4 or 5 years ago, we weren't sure we were going to have that conversation on the back end.
Yeah, no, exactly, Keith. And none of us really knew. Market hall is a new business. It's something that has not been executed on. And then you throw in COVID in the middle of it, and going back to Johnny and Jenny, and working with some of the different merchants, and the restaurant industry decimated with COVID, and people scared about losing their business and saying, I cannot go into dairy market. I can't commit now because we don't know what's in front of us with our core, brick and mortar or our food trucks or whatever it may be. And so working with the Stony Point team and all the talent and the retro team that I have, and we worked with a consultant from Krog Street Market, George Banks with Revel, and so many others, and creating this playbook of what it is that we envision a market hall to look like, how it functions, how it evolves, was really a great process to go through, and then to try and help as much as we could navigate COVID and opening up on December 15th. And we had several merchants who were saying we just don't want to open. We're scared about what this could be and what it could mean to our employees. And certainly we took that approach of what does it mean putting our employees on the front line and us being in the market hall. And others were really eager because they're small businesses and they needed to open. Mm-hmm. And so, myself and a few others had to make a really, really difficult decision that we're going to go, and here's the playbook. So we took a lot of time to map out a COVID plan of how we're going to open, how the space is going to be sanitized, how, folks are going to engage, what, all the seating, everything about ensuring that the public had a safe place environment and our employees and their families were going to be safe. And that was that was really a process that no one's been through, right? But one of the cool things, and I was talking to Josh Batman about it recently, we've had some great media folks come through, travel writers, Washington Post, Travel and
Forbes,
Leisure.
Travel,
Forbes.
Condé Nast.
A lot of folks are really, really interested in what has been, put in place here with Dairy Market. And, even the system, the air system that's coming through the Dairy Market, it's going through 30 to 40 different air changes per hour. Because what's happening is we're bringing fresh air into the Dairy Market. It's not your typical recycling that air and using it. So when all the hoods are activated, all that exhaust is going out, and these are some big, big hoods. All that air is going out, and at the same time, fresh air is being pumped into the Dairy Market. And so
it's also filtered before it comes
It's filtered, yeah. It's filtered.
That's important to know.
It's filtered, right.
And we have the MERV filters in there too, so we upgraded them.
But the point I was trying to make was this is this awesome building. It's gone to this next generation, but you've never forgotten the history.
Never.
Everything about it is the history, the reminding of what came before us, and paying respect and homage to that. It's different, right? It's not what it was in the 50s, obviously.
Nothing can stay the same,
But you've never lost that core vision, that core value, and that's what makes this, in my opinion, that's what makes this project successful. It's got these great vendors and great vision and all that stuff, but you paid respect to what came before you, and that'll never go wrong if you keep that track.
2 other examples. One being our newsletter. We have, now it's digital, right? And so we have this newsletter. It's called the Bovine Bugle. 1950s, there was a paper copy of the Bovine Bugle that was produced by the Monticello Dairy. And so, again, here's a throwback to renaming that old Bovine Bugle and having it there. Years ago at the dairy, there was this giant cow that stood out by the building, and everybody talked about the giant cow. So we couldn't put back a giant cow. In fact, I think it's funny that you mentioned the cow and Rosie and how everybody takes a picture. I was told yesterday, bolt her down, because guess what? She's going to go. But that's what happened. Years ago, somebody took the big cow. But again, paying tribute to the old cow and this landmark that used to sit in front of the dairy, we brought back Rosie with the mural on the side of the building, but then in the generosity of retro hospitality, giving the cow, Rosie, to the Dairy Market and Chris Henry when we opened. So there is a lot of tribute.
And Milkman's Bar, too, what Will Ritchie
Oh,
does there,
absolutely.
and paying
River.
homage, River.
River and Mike are great,
Yep.
So,
We
but
got a hard question coming up
Go ahead.
as we wind down the show here.
Sure.
Hardest question we got to ask is, how do you guys pick where to eat?
Wow.
I mean,
it's funny
so
you should
many
say that,
options. How do you pick where to go?
because you don't want to offend anybody.
You don't. That's the thing.
You just rotate?
You rotate.
you
We try and
rotate.
rotate.
You rotate.
Anytime I walk in, Dino's like, "Hey, you want a pizza?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm trying to lay off.
Dino's watching.
Trying to lay off the slice today, but Dino's
But that's a real thing. How do you pick one?
Oh,
You just try something. There's so much great food, and these merchants are constantly evolving. I think Angelique, is constantly adding specials.
Doing
she's
breakfast.
adding crab legs
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Crab legs starting today.
And
So
Manila just came in, a couple of weeks ago, and South Central. So there's plenty of options that it's never going to get old.
Right.
I don't
No,
think it's
it's
ever going
never
to
gonna
get
get
old.
old.
So you could always try something different.
Do you have a favorite?
I actually have to say I do.
Okay.
Really?
Because I love Dino's Pizza.
It's so good.
And it's I used to have another favorite, and it's still a favorite, but I think he gives the favorites in town a really big run for the money. And with that beautiful volcanic, oven, that red, you can't miss it when
Big
you
boy,
walk in
right?
the door, the big
boy.
boy.
But he puts his smiling face
Oh,
on
my
every
gosh,
pizza.
yes.
So how can it not be awesome when?
So
when you
he's
have that?
named a pizza now after Chris. So there's, the opportunity. We did a promotion earlier this year where we said, do some, posting for us and little competition, and we'll name a pizza after you. So 2 ladies from the UVA were picked, and they had a pizza. They put together their heads together and came up with a name for one of the pizza.
Brilliant.
So they answer the question about what to pick. And it's funny because every one of the vendors wants the other vendor to be as successful
They do.
as they
Oh,
are.
you have to be.
Yeah.
So you
Rising tide is good for all ships.
That's
You know
exactly
it.
right. You don't. So if you don't feel uncomfortable, because if you decide not on a pizza today and you want Angelique's, or you
Take it
want
away.
or Take It Away, or any of the other,
Tommy Bow.
Yeah. he's
Oh my
phenomenal.
gosh. Yes.
that's okay, because Dino wants them to be as successful as that. So don't just whatever you're in the mood for, just go and get
I'll
it.
tell you what, if you guys want a cocktail you've never had before, the Breakfast of Champions at the Milkman's Bar is just watching River make the drink is an experience. And then
Have
you
you had
have
one?
the drink. Oh,
It's awesome.
many times.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, many times.
Eugene, can you share what we brought these
Please.
guys? Because I
Yes.
really want them to kind of display.
I'll let them pick up their.
Well, I'll let you.
I'll let them pick up their bags. Yeah. Well.
We should go to the studio camera for this, Judah, so we get a little more.
Eugene, I'm going to let you.
Oh, you're gonna let me open? Oh gosh! Oh, well, what a treat! A gift for you.
I'm
gonna
drinking
open for
the matcha coffee. This is the first time I've ever had matcha coffee, and it's fantastic.
you. Yeah. So we brought some coffee to toast. So we have a London Fog Blueberry Lavender Tea. I have a rose latte. Miss Jodi's
Oh,
drinking.
so good.
And Mr. Paul's drinking a cold brew, cream and vanilla, and then Mr. Miller has the matcha mama, which is kind of their
Mama's
signature drink.
fantastic. I
So,
would never-
so the first thing we got in here, Jerry has to open this kind of at the same time. We have
Yeah.
an apron, so that's a demand of Jodi that you have to wear that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need
So
you to
you have
put
to-
on your
there's no
apron.
choice.
I figured
Okay.
if you can wear Batman and Robin costumes, you can certainly put
If
on
Jody
your
Mills
apron.
tells me to do something, I'm going to do it. That's what it comes down
These
to.
are also
Oh,
the
and
same.
look how handsome it looks.
the same
Very
apron.
nice.
My suit now.
I'm going to
It
stand up. We're on
does.
the
It
studio
does.
camera. You can stand up there.
Because
We got, very nice.
This is the
You know
same
what? This
apron
is
the
gonna be
governor
my
donned.
Real apron.
I
Yeah,
love it.
do it.
I
Look
like
at that.
Look at that. Dairy Market? Mm-hmm. Does Johnny Pritzloff have one of these? I can see you, Johnny Pritzloff, in one of these.
Well, if he doesn't, he's going to
You
be
better tell
calling
him,
me
Johnny
for one.
Pritzloff.
I'm putting my name on mine.
There you go. There you go.
Very nice.
So we got some coffee from Aleva. Some cool coffee. You can ground there.
Trucker hat?
Trucker hat. Oh, he's ahead of me. You're ahead of me.
sorry, I'm
Oh no, you can tell. I just start opening it.
You know
And then
what?
of course, and then we got some,
Eugene,
we got some coffee.
my wife is
And
gonna
then
love this. Look at this, honey.
our official Dairy Market Rosie bandana. So you got two of those. There you go. So just some swag. We got some stickers, some buttons that say "Share to Love." So, but you got to share the love if you wear it. And then just some information about Old Trinity Church. We have a little grand opening postcard that has all the vendors and merchants and kind of a map, a brick seller info card with our beautiful pictures that we have. So check that out. And then we have information pertaining to tonight with Kristen Yates and Frank Phillips. So the artwork that they have. So just some fun
You're gonna mess
stuff.
up your hair? Let's see
Looking
if he does. I feel he wasn't gonna do it. He's not gonna mess up my hair. Both he and I are entirely too vain right now to put that on. I love this
I literally was
handkerchief.
thinking I ain't putting that on.
I know.
You know what? These are truthfully thank yous because I have to say you guys have been, our
our
biggest
pleasure.
cheerleaders from the very beginning
It's a
since we
wonderful
first
ascot there.
announced what we were doing over there. You guys have been the cheerleaders and we couldn't have done it, without the support. And I was so happy when you said CBS and NBC were watching.
Go get your camera crews over to Dairy Market,
They
guys.
have been so good to
Yeah.
us and you guys too. So thank you.
Over here.
That's right.
They've done it before. This is fantastic.
And there's
You guys are so generous.
some homemade sausage biscuits from
Yeah.
Angelique.
Oh
and
yeah, right
Yeah.
here.
We've got some
Yeah.
some scones from Be Conscious and
Yeah.
and
Triple berry galettes.
galettes.
As well.
The gauntlet with them, but I just don't feel that.
Dude, I love doing the show. We
And
could do the
Judah got
call if you want
Judah
to.
got an apron too, so we didn't leave Judah out.
Judah,
so.
you want to stand up and wave on the studio cameras, everybody? Judah Wickower, North Star and compass of the network here. We love you, Judah
He
Wickower.
makes what we do easy.
Love 9 years of working alongside. I call it love. He calls it something else. But Judah Wickower's inner circle right there.
There you go. Look at that. Beautiful.
Looking sharp there, Smith.
Wow.
Yeah. My ascot going.
There you go.
You do have your ascot, and you can fold the other one in your pocket, right?
Oh, there you go. Beautiful. You got the whole
A Dairy Market pocket square, right?
Give him a third for a handkerchief.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
A pocket square, right?
Paul loved that as much as I did. Oh man, how about a final word for everybody? This has been a fun show today. You wanna You got a way with
I got
words. You want to start with the final word, and we'll close with Jodi.
We'll close with Jodi. Got to close with Jodi. Best for last. No, in general, that's it. In general, everyone come out to the market. It's an exciting place to be.
Looks great.
Amazing food. We're excited for kind of after this week. It's been a big week for us, but we're excited for the weeks to come. We're excited for some programming. We're excited for some fun activations. So, everyone's brothers, nieces, cousins, exes, brother-in-law, sisters, nephew, just come out. It's a fun place to be.
Well said. But Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, a few more things coming up, as we mentioned earlier, so keep an eye on Dairy Market. Some exciting merchants that will be coming on board, so you'll have something different to purchase or to eat or to drink, and we just love the community sport. Thank you so much to both of you gentlemen for everything that you do to champion Charlottesville and the destination, and it's we really do appreciate that.
It's fun. It's fun. Jodi?
Last but not least, I got to say, we're looking forward to fall football. Go Who's for, I guess, in Omaha, right? For
Yeah,
baseball.
College World Series.
Right? So,
20th, right?
Sunday at 2
yeah,
p.m.
go Who's.
Tennessee.
Go Who's, but we're excited.
Double elimination, right?
Yeah, it's the College World Series. Yeah.
Star Hill's going to show the game, I
Yep.
believe. I was talking to Duke yesterday, and yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to say, we're excited for fall football. We're excited to get the UVA students back in. Star Hill has some really cool announcements they're going to make, some fun, new beers, and, just go dairy.
There we go.
So I'll just wear this.
You have to.
Would
Yes.
you like me? Thank you. Would you like me to walk up and down Main Street?
Please.
Anything in particular?
Yep, right in front of the building.
Keith, we're going to
Wait,
get you
do I
up.
have it up? I won't put the hat on the head because I just won't do that. But I'll walk around and go like this.
We're going to get you a cow outfit, Keith, to come down.
He would wear that.
Yeah.
I would wear that.
He totally would.
Yeah, I have no scruples.
No, we wore spandex on here.
We wore spandex.
He will do a cow outfit.
Paul, if you'd like, I'll show you actual pictures of it. It's frightening.
I've seen them.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I think everyone's seen those.
Everyone's
I
seen
watched
them.
the show.
It was utterly fantastic, right?
Utterly fantastic.
Hold on. Let's get the for Jodi Mills right there. Just got the good one. This has been fun. Keith, you wanna
ask
final word?
You want to ask a question? A little.
Oh no, we're
round
getting out of here.
table?
Now.
We're getting out of here.
That's what
Oh,
we're
look
doing.
at that! It's 11:30.
Yeah.
Look at that. Guys. First of all, thank you for supporting the network and supporting the show. So thank you. We couldn't do what we do without you guys. So thank you so much. And look, I meant what I said. This is all about community, and what you guys did is knocked it out of the park. And it's about community. So folks out there, if you're looking to go get a cocktail, a coffee, maybe 2 cocktails, 1 coffee. Go out and visit these folks. They just do a great job, and they're just about giving back. So thank you. And I did not realize it is 11:30, sir.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Thank you, and you're always welcome, right? Always welcome.
Appreciate it.
Just come on up.
And I'll close with this. Young parents,
Oh, yeah.
I'm in your boat. We're all in the same boat together. This spot is fantastic for young parents with kids. My wife says, let's go there because our kid is happy at the market. And then maybe a final word for Chris
Yep.
at I Love CVille. We love to champion small businesses
Yep.
that are locally made, and that's exactly what he's doing with infrastructure and development, like we're doing with digital and social and mobile.
He's doing
So
it right.
I see that passion and commitment, and dude, I think it's absolutely fantastic. So thank you for doing that. And that's the show. Eugene Fitzgerald, Jodi Mills, Paul Cooper, the distinguished gentleman, looking rather distinguished right now.
all cowed up.
With the ascot.
Utterly ready.
Paul Cooper loves the ascot. Me too, Paul.
Keith wears it well. He wears it well.
He wears it well. And Judah Wickower, my name is Jerry Miller, and this is Real Talk on a gorgeous day to be alive in Central Virginia. You guys have a good morning. Take care.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Absolutely
Cheers.
fantastic. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Dude, you're great.
He's incredible.
Fantastic. This was awesome.
You notice I had to
buddy.
hog up the microphone. He was taking the mic too much. I'm like, get out of here, man.